Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining in. I'm Chantel, the founder of The Finance Story, a platform that helps you in your career in finance. Recently the UAE decided to implement corporate tax and transfer pricing, and this has sparked a lot of interest amongst tax professionals, especially in India. Okay, so today we have with us Shailesh Kumar, who is a chartered accountant from India and also a law graduate. He moved to the UAE not too long in 2022 to head the corporate tax team at PKF UAE. So Shailesh is the perfect person, to help us understand how he made the transition, the challenges he faced, and the opportunities he sees in this new landscape. Shailesh, thank you so much for joining in, and thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Chantal, for this platform and opportunity. And this is actually good to share my experiences. And if the other fellow professionals they get some ideas about it, or it helps them take their decisions, then I'll be more than happy to do that. Right. So I'll just give a brief
Thank you.
background about myself.
Yes.
I'm a qualified chartered accountant from India. I belong to, or I started my journey from a very small town in Bihar, and the career transition, or my career uh, uh, got the right track when I got admission into the Shri Ram College of Commerce, which is the top college of commerce. It was then at that time also, and till now it is. So there, while studying commerce, while initially I was thinking of cracking the UPSC and getting into the civil services and all those things. But when I started studying commerce, and then I studied the subject tax, I got some natural interest into this subject, and partially because of my teacher also at college, who was one of the best tax teachers, Dr. Girish Ahuja. So I got the I was lucky enough to study tax from him, and his passion. So he was approximately 58 at that point in time, and his passion for tax at that point in time was so much. It was infectious. The energy and the passion was infectious. So probably that passion infected me also. So that's where I also thought of making a career in taxation. And as luck also favored, I would rather say that, because after that I got opportunity to do my articleship, CA articleship, just after my college, in the tax team of EY. So many people would get it in audit or other divisions, but I was lucky enough to get my interest area. So that's where I started my journey, tax journey, in May 2005, when I joined EY. It was the best tax consulting firm at that point in time, and probably today also in India. Then the journey with EY continued. While I was a part of EY only, I got an opportunity to work with PDS Legal. They are a law firm specializing in the taxation, and there I got opportunity to work with one of the finest tax brains, various tax lawyers. My mentor, Mr. Nageshwar Rao, I worked with him there, and it was a wonderful opportunity, because it was a real nice graduation from the tax consultancy to the litigation side, where I could see how the courts interpret these tax laws, the arrangements, because businesses, they take a decision based on the tax advice given by the professionals, but how actually the courts will look at those arrangements, how the courts will actually look at the business transactions. So all that I could see and witness in the courts personally. So that was a very good experience, and this was till 2016 end. And in December 2016, I moved to Nangia. There, it was again a very good opportunity. I worked initially as a tax director with Nangia. Then, I became a tax partner there when they became a part of Anderson in India. It was a very good 5 year, more than 5 year experience at Nangia. While I was working with Nangia, I was also very actively contributing to various, newspapers, in form of articles and all. So they are also, got this perspective that how the public at large will be interested, or rather interested in these tax developments, what issues really impact them, and how to explain all these taxation issues in a layman's language. Because when you are addressing, when you are issuing a tax opinion is different, but when you are writing for the common public to understand, you have to explain it in a very plain, single, simple, basic English. So that is all. It has been a good experience so far.
That's
And
great. Yes. Shailesh, I would also, so that's why I guess your journey has, you've also done your law, right? So I think
yes,
you understood the progression, the importance, and accordingly you grew in your career. So I mean, all thanks to Girish Ahuja, sir. That's
yes,
amazing. That's such an
indeed,
inspiring episode to know. Cool. So,
yeah.
yeah, Shailesh, I'll ask you my next question. Okay, the big question, right? So,
Mhm.
everybody wants to know, so for EY, PDS Legal, Nangya, I mean, great career journey happening so far, right? How did PKF UAE happen? So how did you come across this role, and was it like a conscious career decision that you've made? How did it come
So,
about?
so actually, when this tax law was announced for the first time on 31st January 2022 in the UAE, right after that, there was a lot of, buzz in the Indian market, because for two reasons. UAE and Dubai is anyway so popular in India due to its infrastructure, its strategic location, its safety, and cosmopolitan culture and all those things. So of course, Dubai has been a very attractive destination for Indians, and as a matter of fact, a large number of working population in Dubai comes from India. So
Yeah.
for the Indian professionals, it is actually a kind of second home. So that is there. So that's where when the government announced this law, then it generated a natural interest in all the tax professionals who may be excited enough to join or start career in a country which is starting with a tax law. And I'll tell you the difference, why it is so exciting. So in India, the tax law is more than 100 years. They completed their 100 year of income tax law in 2022. First time the tax law was introduced in India was 1922, right? So after that, the tax law and its interpretation and all the updates have become so mature. There is of course so much of dispute cases pending before the courts and all, but still, the law as such is matured, right? Vis-a-vis a jurisdiction which does not have a corporate tax law so far. So, starting from the basic accounting issues, like, there are so many nuances which we'll talk about, later part of
Yep.
this
Yep.
discussion. So,
Yep.
so it is really indeed a very exciting opportunity or experience to implement this law in the UAE market.
True, true. So I'll just say hi to everyone who's joined in. Thank you so much for joining in. If you'll have any question, just type it out and Shailesh will take it. So, Shailesh, my question for you is: tell us, how did you discover this role? Because see, you were not you're not a fresher or a mid professional. You've got solid experience, a solid background in India, right? You're doing really well. So, how did PKF find you, or vice versa? And how did you prepare for this role, that you become the ideal candidate to head the corporate tax at PKF UAE?
So after this law was announced, then I was actually curious about it, and I was looking at the opportunities in the UAE market. And then one fine day, this job description came into my mobile through a WhatsApp, through a common friend. So I saw this job profile. I found it really interesting, and then I applied. So, and it so happened that they were also at that point in time, they were willing to hire at the earliest possible. So within almost a week, within 7 to 8 days from getting the job description to the final offer letter, it so happened.
Wow.
So
That's amazing. So, so this was a conscious decision. So you were on a lookout for a new role, or
Yes.
you were on a
I was,
lookout?
yes, I was on a lookout specifically for the Dubai market. So if I talk about India, I was pretty settled there, so I was not looking out for an opportunity in India per se. But yeah, because this Dubai market was exciting me, and I wanted to see this excitement of implementing a new law, new tax law. That's why I had started looking out, and then I got this. I would say, it. I mean, it was kind of destiny. So that's how it happened.
Meant to be. Cool. I might
Yeah.
sound like an interviewer right now, but a lot of people, would want to know what aspects, in your career made you the perfect candidate, for a new market like the UAE. Because see, a lot of people are considering a move, right?
Mhm.
So, uh, so the first thing, whenever you see there's a lot of job opportunities right now, but all of
Yes.
them are looking for UAE experience, GCC experience, right? But you are the right person to ask. So what made you the ideal candidate for this role, and what aspects of your previous work experience made you that perfect candidate, your strong work experience in India? Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is always the companies, they always look for a GCC experience or the region experience for the simple reason that every region or market has its own nuances, its own set of laws and all. And of course, if a candidate is already present in the market, so therefore he is aware of all these nuances, and second, he takes less time to settle down. So of course, if a candidate comes from a different location or a jurisdiction, so he may have his own challenges of initial settling down and all. Whether he's not able to settle down, then whether he will go back to the, so all these kind of questions come into picture. So that's where, the generally the companies prefer candidates with GCC experience. But we have to be mindful that, in this part of the world, at least the UAE, corporate tax and transfer pricing regulations are new. So when we are talking about the, relevant work experience in the GCC, then, the companies are actually looking for candidates from the KSA market or from the Oman market. So where these laws are there for quite some time. So if we talk about KSA, it was way back in 2004. This law was introduced, corporate tax. Oman also 2008. So these are the markets within the GCC region which have corporate tax and transfer pricing regulations for quite some time. So that's where the companies, they do prefer. But having said that, India has such a huge supply of tax professionals, and that too from a complex. So Indian tax law are considered to be complicated ones. So therefore, there is definitely a very good scope for Indian candidates to come here and be part of the journey.
Okay, so those with solid experience, okay, be it India or any other country, there is an opportunity over here, and there is a need as well,
Yes,
right?
yes, because
Okay.
see, because one thing is being aware about the GCC market, but we have to be mindful that everybody who is coming now has to read the law from the scratch only. The situation may not be the same after say 4 years or 5 years down the line, because many things would have been already done, so people would not be aware of what has happened in past 4 years. When the implementation came in, what kind of tax positions have been taken, what is the situation of the industry. So all those things, that experience of GCC or particularly UAE market will be more relevant after 3 4 years from now. But as of now, practically, I think there is an open market for Indian professionals to come and join.
That's amazing. That's so true as well. Okay, Shailesh, can you just tell us a little bit about your current role, your team, and how big is the tax team? If you're okay to share details.
I mean, of course, some parts cannot,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah. So, but yeah, so I'm presently heading the corporate tax team, and it's a good size team, and we have professionals, both experienced professionals, both from the corporate, having experience in the corporate tax as well as transfer pricing. So we have, and mostly our team members are from the Big Four background in India. So they have a good experience of delivering quality to the clients. So that's where we have a very good team. And as a matter of fact, after I came here, my job was to to run around in the market, and which I started doing immediately after I joining. So making meeting the clients, making them aware about this new law, building the team, and all those. And we have also started delivering after this final law has been issued, and the plethora of cabinet decisions and ministerial decisions have come. Last one being on the 1st June itself on the qualifying income and free zone benefits. So it's a past 11 months have been really exciting. And sometimes I feel sleep deprived also, but that's okay. It is we have
So the
to.
journey of implementing corporate tax and making your clients aware was actually it was hectic. It involved a lot of work, and
Yes.
that was a very important period as well. Would
Yes.
you want to add a little more about because this is a lot of people who are going to move here. It's going to be the implementation phase for them. So any learnings, any challenges that you faced, which you'd like to share?
Yeah, so first of all, you have to differentiate between a mature market and a nascent market. So you will have to start. So first of all, you may get a client who does not have any idea about the corporate tax apart from the fact that it is 9%, right? So how it has to be calculated, and basic accounting also. So one unique part about the UAE is that because there were no tax laws, and many of the companies they operate in a group, right? And they prepare their financial statements on a combined basis for a group as a whole. So because of this, what happens that sometimes, or majority of the times, revenue is booked in one company, cost is booked in another company, the visas are there, so visas are scattered between one company to other company. So all these, there is a basic concept of, you are a chartered accountant, so one of the basic principles of accounting is matching, right? So the revenue and cost should match against each other. So that is something we find difficult, and we have to explain this to the client. And then the clients have to first understand, then they have to make the changes to their accounting system, to their ERPs, and all those things. So it requires a lot of structural changes. And believe me, advising is one part, but when it comes to real implementation of those aspects, it is going to take sleepless nights for the clients as well, because it's not very easy to change something which has been prevailing for like many years, and now you have to change everything for the corporate tax, because the grouping conditions are very stringent. So you have to have one parent company, parent resident company, which is not a qualifying free zone company. Then that company should have more than 95% shares in the subsidiary company. Then all those conditions you have to satisfy to form a tax group. Then only you can have this combined kind of situation where revenue and costs may be booked in anywhere, but on a group level, those are matching. So that, I mean, all those things are there. So any professional who's coming here, or who's working in this, so they have to face these situations, and they have to deal with it. So starting from fixing the basic accounting issues till advising on the right kind of structure for the company, for so it's all interesting.
Okay. So there's a lot going on. Okay, so you see a lot of hiring happening also in MNCs on the like they're going to hire tax professionals in their team, finance professionals in their team. Do you see that happening on the client side as well, or has it already started happening?
It has already started happening. And a lot of companies, even in the industry, of course, consulting firms, they are building up their practice. They have already done, and they are still further building up their practice, the teams and all. But even the client side, because they now understand that they need some specialized person who understands all these issues and who can implement it practically. So a consultant will come, he will give his advice, and probably he will go back. But when it comes to implementation of all those things, then you need an in-house person. Plus, when there is a consultant who's giving an advice, you need to have a person who can challenge that consultant also, if whether that advice is being given is proper or not proper. Because this is also, of course, I see that even from the industry side, there should be hiring, and industry should hire a right kind of candidates who have similar experience and expertise and knowledge to handle these issues, because these are serious issues. uh, so that should require attention of all the companies.
Okay, so Shailesh, from what you're saying is, are the industry guys, okay, hiring like a tax plus finance, tax plus treasury? So is it that one person who's going to do the plus of finance, treasury, or is it going to be separate roles? Because you yourself mentioned it's complex, like there's be a lot of work, a lot of updates with tax that will need to be done. So how do you see the hiring happening in terms of roles? A finance guy who's also handling tax, or there's going to be separate roles?
See, what I feel is that one person cannot be an expert of all, right? So while there can be a team within the industry, within a client also, who deals with all these aspects, and in fact all the professionals who are there in that team should definitely work together in tandem with each other, so that whatever solutions are being implemented, they are practical from all sides, be it tax, be it VAT, be it treasury function, and all those things, so that there is no confusion from the business side and business goes as usual, right? But having said that, if a person is having experience in finance and treasury functions all along, he cannot be expected to be an expert in corporate tax overnight, even by reading the books, right? Because there are so many things which does not come just from the reading of books, but from the past experience and expertise. So that's where the experience comes. So, like, if you talk about VAT also, when it was implemented in 2017, a lot of VAT professionals who had experience of implementing VAT or similar taxation, direct taxation in other countries, they came here and they implemented, and now they are expert in the UAE VAT. So if you see that those VAT persons are also expertise in finance matters, or they also have expertise in the treasury functions, or they also have expertise in the accounting. It's not necessary, because it is easier said than done. That one basic theory is everybody is a chartered accountant, so everybody can understand all the things. But the we have to understand that the time available with every person is limited, right? So when he functions or specializes in a particular area, then he can do that in on that matter only. He cannot be an expert of all.
Okay, so you're saying that maybe for right now, someone will be, one person could be doing a lot of things, but eventually the need for tax experts in the industry is really going to amp up,
Yes.
because because there's no way around one person doing everything. There will have to be a tax expert in the organization.
Right, and we've seen that it's not a matter of that the companies cannot afford it. It is just a matter of, I mean, I'm being blunt in saying that, but it is a matter of mindset that one person is there, so he can do that. But I would rather say that it's an investment kind of thing that they should do in right kind of people. So that's where
Okay, and that will happen eventually.
that should happen.
That should happen. Okay, cool. So, my next question for you is, what are the kind? So, we see a lot of opportunities. We see a lot of hiring in consulting firms, right? A lot of boutique consulting firms are also coming up. Tax advisory. Everyone wants a good corporate tax advisor, transfer pricing. So, what kind of roles and expertise, that are what you observe that are currently in demand? Okay, be it consulting firms, boutique firms, accounting firms, and MNCs. What are they currently hiring right now, and what new roles will come up, in the next, say, 1 year or 2 years?
So what I feel is that presently people are hiring with or professionals who are in more in demand are those between experience of 3 to 7 years in the respective field, be it corporate tax, be it transfer pricing, because that is an area that is the experience which is considered to be a mid kind of experience. So that's where right now companies are preferring candidates from. And of course, at the leadership positions also, with professionals having more than 10, 12, or 15 years of experience. So that is there. So even at that level, there are requirements, but it really depends. It really depends on the requirements, and it will mature further or grow further as even the consulting firms, they see more of a business. So it is all about function of cost, right?
Yes.
So when you see the revenue flowing, you will make more investment.
Okay, so you're saying from what you observe currently, tax professionals, say from India, Pakistan, who have corporate tax transfer planning expertise. Okay, they with 3 to 7 years of experience, they stand a high chance of finding an opportunity in the UAE at the moment. That's what you
Yes,
mentioned.
yes.
Okay, so now when you say 3 to 7 years, okay, these guys are, they'll have 3 to 7 years. They mostly at a big four because even your firm has hired a lot of candidates from the big four, correct?
Yes, yes.
Correct. So when you come here after 3 to 7 years, is your Indian experience taken into consideration, or it's like you'll have to start afresh because you don't have a GCC or UAE experience?
No, no, your experience is definitely taken into consideration. That's why I mentioned about 3 to 7 years of experience. That your you have the necessary expertise also, but at the same time you are not too expensive also. So it is about that. So experience does matter. After some point in time, as I said earlier, that after maybe 4 5 years, there will be more demand for people who already have the GCC, or rather UAE experience.
Okay, okay. My next question for you is, so having Indian tax experience is good enough with a good work experience here at a Big Four. But what about those who don't have, experience at a Big Four, okay, or or don't have experience say, in the top 10 firms? So, what's your take on that?
So I think of course, when hirings happen, then on the CVs, if you have experience from the big firms, it does matter. But it does matter in terms of shortlisting your CV. But if by any chance, if your CV is shortlisted and you come for the interview, then your personal performance and confidence that you show in that kind of in that interaction or interview, that also matters a lot, so you can impress. So I personally have hired, in my role earlier, in my earlier role also, I've hired people from non big four or non top 10 firm experience, and those candidates have turned out to be really good, really smart, and very trustworthy, dependable. So it really comes. So but as I said, a lot of things depend on destiny also. So it's not that you are planning for it, or you are trying for it, you will get it. You may get it, you may not get it, but the thing that we can do is to keep trying.
To keep trying.
Yeah.
True.
So it's not that, if you're not getting the opportunity, it's not that, you are not good enough. So it's not like that. But yeah, sometimes it depends on luck. As I mentioned that I my getting the JD and the offer letter, the time gap was just 8 days. So it just happens sometimes.
Yeah. True that. So a lot of firms are offering, courses and classes on transfer pricing and corporate tax. So is the Institute ICAI, right? So when you evaluate candidates, so do these certificates hold value, or they are mostly for individual knowledge? So do you expect someone to have such kind of certificates?
If you're asking me personally, no.
No. Okay.
Yeah, well, for me, the candidates, personal, research or the work that he has done, the self study that he has done is more important, because that is something that will throw that you can throw in the interview or discussion, right? So if you have this kind of confidence, whether you have the certification or you don't have the certification, personally, it doesn't matter to me. I just look at the candidate. Of course, while shortlisting the CV, I look at the work experience also that he has done. But I think your personal study is more important. Like, I'll give my own example. So it was again a very uh, not a very usual thing which would have happened. So I'm interviewing for designation for a tax head, and in the interview, I was told that good that you've read about this. So why don't you prepare a write up? And it was a Friday, and I was asked that why don't you prepare a write up and send it by Monday on the UAE corporate tax law, right? So some people would say that, boss, am I being interviewed for a executive kind of thing, that I will prepare draft it myself, because at this kind of role you're not expected to draft things on your own. But then I sensed that opportunity, that no, this is something which will test my seriousness, and I went back to the basics, right? Over the weekend, I prepared the write up. I remember it was a 7-page write up with all whatever I could find and articulate, and with all the bold underlining that we used to do at the CA final, right? So
Yeah.
I did all that thing, and over the weekend on Sunday, so Friday evening was the interview. By Sunday, it was in my sent box, right? So, and later on, I was told that the kind of promptness and with the articulation that I had given, it was one of the big factor for my selection. So these are some things. I didn't take any certification, I didn't take any classes, but it was just based on the self-study. So I give personally, I give more weightage to the self-study, your own work, rather than certifications.
Wow. And attitude is key, right? I mean, you took out the time in spite of holding a senior role, right? In India, you took out the time to summarize it all and pass it on. So that's great.
So that
That
that that's what we have to do, right? So when you have to apply for a role, or when you have to when you really want to take something, right? Then you will not leave any stone unturned.
true that. True, true. I also have to ask you this question. We have seen, a lot of a rise in the number of boutique firms here. Like there are so many advisory firms coming here. So is the market really big? Do you see a lot of opportunities, and how do they compete, say, with firm like yours or like the big four, right? Because UAE is still relatively a smaller country.
It is indeed a smaller market, right? So and a lot of things, they go by word of mouth here. So if you have, so clients go a lot with the personal relationships, right? So of course, the established firms like us, or the big four, they clearly have an edge in terms of the client confidence, because client knows us. We have the strong time tested credibility in the market of delivering. So when they say that we are giving work to you, then it will be delivered, right? So vis-a-vis a boutique law firm who does not have a that much of presence, but still, I think there is an opportunity for all. So it is about the kind of personal connect. Of course, you have to do more hard work when you are starting up on your own, and or you are part of a boutique firm, because you have to do more convincing to the clients to get the work. But I think there is an opportunity. It's not that small a market also that people can't get it. It's about meeting the right people.
Okay, so there is a market, and this is the right time to get in as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, cool. So, Shailesh, would you have any closing message for everyone? Okay, those who want to build a career here. Okay, post that we'll take questions. So, would you
Sure.
have any? Yeah.
My basic message will be that, to follow the instinct and don't fear to take the risk, especially the experienced professionals like us. It is more difficult, because when I was also taking this decision, a lot of things came into my mind, like, when you have children, then their studies are there, they would be studying somewhere already. You would have parents who are aging, of course, so you need to be by their side also. So there are so many aspects, there are so many trade-offs. You are already sitting in a well-paying job, so whether you want to leave that comfort zone, you already have set of clients. So leaving all that, you come in a different country, start from scratch, right? Building relationship, whether you will settle in the organization, whether you will settle in the market, whether the clients will accept you. But only thing is that you have to follow your instinct, you have to have confidence in yourself, and leave everything on the almighty. So if you have good intention, you will get it.
Wow, that's so well said. So true. Cool. But you encourage people with experience, even more like yourself with 15 years plus as well to move to the UAE if the opportunity is right. And
Yes,
you're saying that there is scope for roles.
there is scope. Yes.
There is scope. So there is scope for mid professionals, there is scope for senior professionals. What about freshers?
For freshers also, freshers, there is an opportunity, but people generally prefer, it's a kind of chicken and egg story, that if a person is a fresher, then how will he get experience? And if you only hire the experienced professional. So, but I think for freshers also, we are hiring freshers. For freshers, the most important thing is the attitude, and the homework that the person has done. So attitude is most important, because that is something, with that, even if you don't have big brands in your CV or big names in your CV, you can go very far. And
Yeah.
you need to repeat the question.
Yeah. So my question is, do you have to be here? Like, do you quit your job in India and move here, or there's a lot of hiring that's also happening while you're still in your home country? Is that happening?
So I see maximum of the hirings are happening while you are still there in the home country, because it is really difficult to leave your existing job and find for something which is uncertain. See, getting a job also is not certain, right? So I do see many candidates who come here on a visit visa after leaving their job for giving a personal interview and all. So that situation is also there, but majority of the hirings, I think, are happening while the people are already in India, and doing good, and still they explore this opportunity and they get this opportunity. So majority of the people, I would say, is from that category. The
Okay.
second category is also there, but it's less, because nobody wants to leave the job and security without getting an offer in hand.
We have another question from Manoj. He says, "May I know the exposure for practicing during this time since corporate tax is implemented?" Means you addressed this, but if you can take it again.
Yeah. So, Manoj, you can come here. Most welcome. This country has a very good infrastructure and all. But unless you have a connect already here, it will take some time for you to set up.
Okay. True, fair enough. Cool. So, Shailesh, you've spoken a lot about how it is very important that if your clients trust you, a lot on trust happens, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, any tips of how do you build clients and how different are the clients, say from in UAE in comparison to India? What are the unique points if you could share to give a perspective of the market, of the people, of how it functions?
Clients are mostly the same. That's why I've experienced, whether in India or in the UAE. What the clients want is quality delivery, good response time, personal attention. So these are the common aspects which client demand anywhere, whether in India, whether in the UAE. So clients are all good. In fact, I found the clients really nice here. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool. That's cool. Any other tips you want to give to those who are interviewing? Maybe they have their interviews, and any pointers you want to cover?
Be Do your homework. So a lot of times we see candidates, and which I find really strange, that when you are coming for a tax role, for a UAE corporate tax, But when I ask how much have you read about or about the UAE corporate tax, or if I ask some question, then they don't have much idea. So I would say that do your homework, uh, and have the positive attitude, have that go getter kind of attitude, that if I am given this opportunity, then whatever come, it may come, I will do it, I will deliver it. So that kind of attitude is very important.
Okay.
So then only it gives a confidence in the other person that I can put my bet on that.
Yep. You
Because
have.
as yeah, because as any other market, or and especially this market is more cost sensitive, because the cost of doing business, or cost of staying here itself is a bit high. So that's why people choose very they take time, and they to choose their resources. That's because you don't have many.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
True that. That's well said. We have this question from Prashant. He says, right now I outsourcing work for various countries. Is there any opportunity to outsource work, from the UAE to India as they work as a back office?
So that is also, it's a right kind of opportunities there. But only thing is that, again, for doing the outsourcing to you or to any other person, the person who wants to outsource should have that kind of trust and confidence in you, and there should be a seamless flow of information, right? So because here we also are answerable to the clients in a time bound manner. So if a firm decides to outsource the work, then he should be confident that they will get the timely response from the other side also, and a quality deliverable. So these are all very tricky issues, case to case. There can't be one standard answer to that.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Done. So, Shailesh, I guess you've answered all our questions. Okay. Okay, now there's another question. We'll take the last question from
So,
Charan, who says, I'm a practicing CA in India, running my own firm. Do I have a chance in taxation in the UAE?
I mean, what kind of chance is there? Are you looking for an employment here, or are you looking for setting up your own practice? Both the opportunities are here. You have to take your own decision which path you want to go.
Okay, cool. So, Charan, if you can expand on that, maybe we can answer it. Else, we will do a separate write up on this. If we have additional pointers, we will add it and we will send it to you. So, yes, Shailesh, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining in and asking your questions.